Here's a take you probably never heard before and are probably not expecting. You remember the games journalists, probably in 2023 after Baldur's Gate 3's release, that came out and said that you shouldn't expect every game to be as big or as good as Baldur's Gate 3? I mean, obviously, BG3 is one of the best, if not the best RPG of all time. And it absolutely broke the game development industry because they thought that, it was kind of an anomaly, that there would be. You shouldn't expect that any other game should live up to what Baldur's Gate 3 is. In fact, some of them said, please don't expect every game to be like Baldur's Gate 3. It's not fair to compare them. And you want to know something? They're right. That may not be a popular opinion, but to look at the state of the games industry now, we as consumers, whether we do so consciously or unconsciously, we compare every single new game that comes out to Baldur's Gate 3, barring mostly indie titles. We as gamers were spoiled by Larian and BG3. There will never likely be another game that reaches the same level of detail, player count, art, thoughtfulness, and game mechanics like Baldur's Gate 3 did, unless Larian can do better with DOS 3 or whatever its next project is. This year's Game of the Year contenders include, in my opinion, Clair Obscur, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and a low-key favorite, Abiotic Factor. These games all have one thing in common. They were made by passionate people who didn't let money dictate the kind of game that they made. Remember what Sven Vincke said at the Game Awards? Let me be clear in stating that this is my opinion, and I'm sure I'm not alone when I say this. Let's just look at some of the recent releases this year. Fallout 4 Remastered is an abject disaster. Nobody asked for it. Bethesda wants to milk every last penny out of you. Dragon Age the Veilguard, despicable excuse for a Dragon Age game. Avowed is a disaster. It's gonna be forgotten soon. Borderlands 4, does anyone play that? Outer Worlds 2, no one's playing that. Gears of War Remastered, does anyone play that? Call of Duty Black Ops 7, it's getting shit on right now. Even this new Battlefield 6 is decent, but it's not like the greatest Battlefield game. The Halo Remaster is gonna be dead on arrival. And I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off right now and tell you guys that Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a hot steaming pile of shit when it releases next year too. There's at least 20 examples of games and developers that spent years in the making that are going to do absolutely poorly at launch. The majority of gamers won't play them. And why is that? It's because Baldur's Gate 3 really flipped the gaming industry on its head, and it made gamers realize that good games can be made and that we shouldn't just accept whatever slop the developers dish out for us. I hate to say it, but the game journalists and the game devs back then, 2 years ago, were right. Don't expect every game to be as good as Baldur's Gate 3 because they've proven themselves incapable of meeting our expectations. Now they're the ones suffering because they spend 3, 4, sometimes 5 years developing games that will probably only be played by a couple thousand people and will be forgotten to the back pages of Steam in a week or less. And I don't feel bad for these people. Besides Silent Hill F, I've pretty much only played indie games this year. I recently bought Tavern Keeper and I'm having a blast with that. I bought the Session Skate Sim for $10 and it's infinitely better than the Skate reboot. I put 50 hours into Fall of Avalon, and I play Graveyard Keeper, and those games only cost me $45 together. I recently purchased a Steam Deck because the Nintendo Switch 2 dropped, and all of the games on it are like 5 years old, and they're still charging $80. I pay like $5 to $10 a game on Steam, and the Steam Deck has been incredible for me over the last month. It's really sad to see how the games industry is so disconnected from their audience. Like, moving forward, I would like to see if every CEO or major company executive would just ask themselves and their employees if they think it's going to be worth it to work on another lifeless IP for 4 years. Like, really, do we really need another Far Cry? Do we really need another Assassin's Creed, another Madden, another Call of Duty? Is that really going to be the profitable move? Gamers are waking up and we're not falling for that shit anymore. Unfortunately, it's the games like BG3, Elden Ring, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and Clair Obscur that get vilified because they are the genuine anomalies of the games industry. They really gave gamers more than they asked for, and that is what the subpar game developers are so afraid of. It makes them want to bash these great games, because they know that they'll never be able to create anything like it themselves.